Hello everyone and welcome to the Animezilia, and today we'll be discussing some of the scenes from the opening of RWBY Volume 7. Now, by the time of this video going up, Episode 1 of Volume 7 should be out for everyone, not just first members. But I will just say now, this video will contain spoilers for basically the volume of Volume 7. So if you don't want to be spoiled by anything, then unfortunately this video isn't for you. But with that all being said and done, let's look at some of the images. Now, I just want to clarify that I will be looking at still images from the opening instead of actually looking at the video clips. But I'll be explaining what happens before and what happens after, just to kind of give a bit more context behind it, and my thoughts and my reasoning. So, with that out of the way, let's look at the first image. So image number 1 is this one right here. We see the crew all standing, ready to face Atlas while being silhouetted and blacked out. Now this is the first image that kind of caught my attention. Yes, the first one with like different colours and the beat and the music, that was pretty cool. But this one intrigues me because it's very reminiscent of Volume 2's opening. In Volume 2, we have an opening where Team RWBY are stood on like a bridge with like some particle effects, sort of like blowing in the wind behind them, sort of like whisking away. Now, with this, it's similar to that, but at the same time, if you look closely at the characters, they're still in their they're still in their Volume 6 outfits. Because Blake's hair is still long, Ruby's outfit is still the same, Weiss doesn't have a long coat, and Yang's outfit is obviously still the same as well. So this obviously is before they enter Atlas. And then they use the particle effects, or like the dust sort of like flowing into the wind again as you go into the title screen. And I thought that was pretty cool, because it's basically them showing us that their old selves are now vanishing and going off into Atlas. And then what we now see is the next scene, which is their new outfits. And I thought that was pretty refreshing and pretty nice. Because, like I said, the next image is these ones right here. We see all of the members of Team RWBY basically transitioning from their volumes 1, 2, and 3 outfits to their 4 and 5 and 6, and then to their volume 7. And honestly, I really did like that, and it was very kind of unique, because the way that the characters portrayed themselves in this scene of the opening was actually very reminiscent of the characters' personality itself. Ruby's was very jolly and flying through the skies like she normally would with her semblance. Yang's was fiery and quick and to the point, with her knuckle dusters and her semblance blazing of hair in the background. You had Blake vanishing and sort of reappearing. You had Weiss kind of elegantly gliding along the sky. I thought that was pretty cool. The outfits are nice as well. Now, the next talking point I want to talk about is Ironwood. We see this, and he's looking at a holographic projection on in the middle of the room. And honestly, this scene is basically, I liked it because of the techniques used within this scene. We look at it and Ironwood is definitely looking at something that's with very good detail. He's focused. He's very, he's got narrow vision on this thing he's looking at. We don't know what he's looking at this point, but he basically is concentrating very much. And how do we know this? Well, when it zooms into his eyes are squinting slightly. So it means that he's narrowing his vision. And then the camera pans outwards, inwards. So it starts out, wide shot, goes in, and then it focuses into Ironwood's eyes. And this basically is a good technique, and other people have used it in other sort of openings and endings to kind of symbolize, focus and deep concentration. So I thought that was a great way to transition into the next scene. So then, the third image is the Special Operative Group. Now, we don't know the names of these characters or who they are. We can see that one of them is a Farnes. Because if you look at the... my finger's going to get cut off if I point, but it's the guy with the tanned guy with the black hair. You can see a tail down the bottom. And seeing that he's a Farnes is kind of a bit... It's kind of intriguing, because obviously Atlas doesn't have a very good opinion of the Farnes himself, thanks to the Fallout Beacon. So how he's still there, I don't really know, but it's still very interesting. I want to know more about these characters, and it seems like they are going to be more involved in the story, because we see them later on in this opening fighting alongside Jean, Nora, and Ren, which, as a side note, I find Jean's haircut absolutely ridiculous, simply because it reminds me of that annoying character from volumes 1, 2, and 3 that used to bully Jean. I know he had like different colour hair, but at the same time it just still reminds me of it. That's just me though. So then we move on quickly, and we see this image. Now, first of all, I thought this was Sun. I thought they gave Sun a new outfit, a new cool design. I thought, no, that's silly. Where's the pole? It's got a tail that looks like a needle. Hold on a minute, a scorpion tail. That's got to be Tyrion. And I would have also said yes. But at the same time, Tyrion is actually seen in a full body shot later on in this opening. So seeing him as a holographic projection or a silhouette doesn't make sense. But it does if you know who the hands belong to. Now, before we see these hands, we do see a mustache. And I thought that this was just like a shot of the character, and then we see someone else typing away on this keyboard. But no, the guy with the mustache is actually the other member of Salem's group. The one that infiltrates people, and we saw him at, I can't remember it, Mantle. We saw him at Mantle negotiating with the president of the academy there. And, you know, we know he's good with technology. So maybe, just maybe, he's hacking into a system. And this image just shows that he's working alongside of Tyrion. Or maybe he's creating a virus that works with Tyrion's venom. Another possibility. Anyway, I do find this very intriguing. So then we move on to number 6. Number 6 is relatively intriguing. So we have the Schnee family. We see this shot of Weiss's father, Whitley, and in the next scene we do see Weiss and Winter. Now, this definitely means we're going to get some more drama between the Schnee family, which we all thought would happen in this volume, thanks to, you know, the story being in Atlas. But what I do want to say is that the pairings seem a little bit odd. Because if they wanted to have a confrontation between Weiss and her father, they both would be in the same shot. And they wouldn't have Winter appearing. They would save that for like a reveal or something. But the fact they got Whitley and her father in one shot and then Weiss and Winter in another shot tells me that basically Weiss and Winter are going to be on even sides. So they're going to be on the same side. But then her father and Whitley are going to be against them. How? We don't know yet. But maybe later on down the road we might. Now, moving on again, we have this shot. Nothing really big to say about this shot, except for the fact it's a very nice looking image. It looks like a battle scene and something big has gone down. We see fire, we see things, buildings being taken down. We see the group ready for battle. So, all in all, I like the art style. Who attacked? Maybe it was an invasion from the Grim or Cinder. Still, interesting, and I can't wait to see how this bit unfolds and how this fits into the story. Number 8. Yeah, it's a spoiler. Sorry, didn't say it, but here it is. Penny returns. Not much to say about that. We all knew Penny would return if you've watched the first episode, because you have to watch that before you get to this. Now, this character. Now, this is a mysterious character that we don't know anything about. It looks like a female character, but with anime you can't really tell, so I am going to refer to it as a female. But, you know, it might change later on. And it seems that this character and other people involved with this character aren't very keen on Ironwood. Because we see a shot before this character of people watching a presentation or a speech of Ironwood, and they're chucking rocks at it. Then we see this character, and her expression does not look very kind of, content with what Ironwood is saying. Like, she looks like she disapproves. As well as the fact is, if you look at the area that she's in this slum area that we were in episode 1. And we know that these people are kind of neglected from the higher-ups. So maybe this character is the character that is going to lead a rebellion against the higher-ups of Atlas. And if that's the case, you know what? I would actually like that, because it will create an internal struggle for Atlas and an external struggle that we know is coming from the Grimm and Salem. So I think that would be pretty cool. Now, I would normally say this character might be a one-off, much like how Mrs. Tuffet was, or whatever her name was, the lady with the spider tattoo from last season. However, this character is seen again in the opening, fighting alongside another character, and I'll get to that in a minute. So then, we hop straight on to the next one, and it's Ironwood versus Oscar. Now, this image is intriguing, because I want to see these two characters clash. However, I'm not entirely certain that it's going to be a physical fight. I feel like there's going to be a reason behind it. Now, maybe Ironwood doesn't basically fully trust Oscar after he says that he's Osbin, and that just leads to a confrontation between the two. Or maybe he just doesn't like Osbin altogether anymore. Or maybe it's the fact that they have a plan to do something. Because remember, Ozpin isn't around at the moment. So, maybe, just maybe, they work together to try and find a way, or it's training. There's many possibilities of how this could be. I just don't see it being a fully blown fight. Or it could just be like a representation of like a visual effect of a internal, a talking battle. So they could be talking with words and sort of like going back and forth. And as they're talking, we see this, but it isn't what's actually happening in the real world. If that makes sense, maybe, possibly, I don't know. But either way, it's still going to be intriguing, and I thought I'd talk about it. Number 11 is Tyrion. Yes, Tyrion is coming back, and he looks pretty menacing in this shot, and I quite like it. Now, Tyrion is a character we haven't seen very much of since he took down Crow in Volume 4, I think, and it's nice to see him make a return to the show. We can see Tyrion rampaging throughout, and can you imagine if the Grimm have attacked, everything's in chaos, streets are on fire, people are scared and afraid, and then, Tyrion comes running in and basically scares everybody even more. Like, this would be nightmarish. And the fact that he's got his new tail as well just seems pretty cool. Next one. This is the one I was talking about earlier. So, we see Tyrion versus Crow. Great, a brilliant rematch that we all wanted to see. And honestly, I thought this would be a very good rematch to see. Crow wouldn't need to wait for Watch Out for RWBY anymore. However, there is another character involved. You see the character in the right-hand side. This character was fighting Tyrion to begin with. So it means that she obviously comes into confrontation with him. And then Crow backs her up. And this person is basically the same lady who we don't really know a lot about to begin with. I think it's not that one. That's the lady that is in a shot with Crow fighting Tyrion. So whether or not Crow is actually betraying everybody else, I don't know. Maybe Crow is just being a double agent. Maybe when they meet Ironwood, they're like, okay, fine. Or if they don't meet Ironwood, or maybe Crow's like, I hear this person's trying to lead a rebellion. It won't be good for Atlas. I better follow her, gain her trust, and then, feed information back. But with Crow's semblance, I don't think that's a good idea, but that may be how they approach it. However, it still stands to reason that these two characters will come into contact, and, these three characters will, and the fight should be pretty decent. I don't think Crow's going to be saving the damsel in distress. I think this character is going to be pretty decent and good with skill. At first, again, I did think it was Winter, but a second thought it looks nothing like her, so I thought it was a rogue Winter, but that's just silly. Anyway, finally, we have this shot right here. This is the final shot of everyone looking like they're about to venture out into the battles to come and the hardships that they're going to have to face. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm still not convinced with Jean's hairstyle. Weiss's hairstyle looks too bulky at the moment. I like her outfit, but the hairstyle is just weird. But what I do find funny about this is the fact that everyone looks super serious and determined, apart from two characters. Those two characters being Crow and Penny. Honestly, Crow we know is very relaxed and very kind of, easygoing. And Penny, she's so hyperactive and so kind of jolly that it's very true to the characters that they wouldn't be that serious about this fight. They'll be looking at it more like a game. So I do appreciate the kind of realism from those two characters. I guess you could also say the realism from Oscar as well, because he likes to try hard and it looks like he's trying to act like he's a big man. I don't know, those orange boots, I just can't, red boots, I just can't, oh well. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the intro. Obviously, I didn't talk about all the fights that happened because there's fights in the fight scene and, they're going to happen throughout the series. I can talk about them when I do the review of the show. I didn't feel like I had to talk about the fact that Yang does this and Blake does that and this guy does that and whoa. I didn't feel like I had to do that. I just felt like if I take some key points from this opening and try to explain them, as well as try to give my thoughts on them, then, that would be enough. So, I may have missed one or two things. If I have, then you can always let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If there's anything I've said about a certain scene that you don't agree with or you want to add to my point, then please feel free to create the discussion down in the comments. But other than that, I hope you all have an amazing day. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me, and until next time, I'll catch you all later. Goodbye for now.